Welcome back to my channel. This is the story of the journey of a street vendor.
In a small town called Loma, there lived a young man named Tobi. Tobi had a big smile and strong arms. Every morning, he woke up very early, even before the sun came out. He tied a big pot on his small wooden cart and pushed it to the busy road near the school. Tobi sold jollof rice, fried plantains, and chicken. The food smelled so nice that children and workers stopped to buy it. He made a little money every day, just enough to buy food. Tobi did not go to school, but he was very smart. He knew how to cook well, count money fast, and talk kindly to people. Everyone called him Chef Tobi. One day, something strange happened. As Tobi was setting up his cart, a big black car stopped in front of him. A man in a suit came out. He looked serious. "Who owns this cart?" the man asked. "I do, sir," Tobi replied. "This road is no longer for selling food," the man said. "Pack your things and leave." Tobi's heart beat fast. "But sir, this is where I sell to feed my family." The man did not listen. He waved his hand and walked back into his car. Tobi sat on the road, confused and sad. Where would he go now? Would his little brother and sister eat today? Just then, a small voice said, "Tobi, don't cry. You're the best cook I know." It was Mimi, a schoolgirl who always bought food from him. She smiled and gave him a drawing she made. It showed Tobi in a big restaurant with a sign that said, "Chef Tobi's Kitchen." Tobi looked at the drawing, then looked up at the sky. Maybe, just maybe, this was not the end. Tobi kept looking at the drawing Mimi gave him. It made him feel warm inside, like a little fire of hope. He folded it carefully and put it in his pocket. "I can't give up," he said to himself. The next day, Tobi didn't go to his usual spot. Instead, he walked around town with his cart. He stopped near a church, but the gate was locked. He tried near a market, but too many people were already selling food there. Tobi was tired, hot, and hungry. Still, he didn't stop. Finally, he found a small park where children were playing. He set up his cart under a tree and opened the pot. The sweet smell of jollof rice filled the air. One by one, people started to come. What's that smell?" said a woman with her baby. "Jollof rice and plantains," Tobi said with a smile. Soon, the line got longer. Tobi was happy again. But just as he served the last plate, a boy ran to him crying. "Help, my sister fell in the river." Without thinking, Tobi jumped up and ran after the boy. He left his cart, his money, and everything behind. When he reached the river, he saw a little girl struggling in the water. "Hold on," Tobi shouted. He jumped into the river and pulled her out. People clapped and cheered. The girl was safe, but when Tobi went back to the park, his cart was gone. Everything, his food, his pot, his money was gone. Tobi sat on the ground. He was wet, tired, and now had nothing. But then, the girl's mother came running. "Thank you, you saved my daughter," she said, hugging him tight. "What is your name?" "Tobi," he said softly. She looked at him kindly. "You're not just a food seller, you're a hero." Tobi smiled a little, but inside he still felt sad. How would he start again? Just then, something happened that would change his life forever. As Tobi stood there, shivering and sad, a man in a clean shirt and glasses walked up to him. The man had been watching everything from the park. "I saw what you did," the man said. "You saved that little girl without thinking about yourself. That was brave," Tobi nodded. "But now, I've lost everything." The man smiled. "Sometimes, when you lose something, it's because something better is coming." He reached into his bag and gave Tobi a small card. "Come to this place tomorrow morning. I want to help you." Tobi looked at the card. It read, "Sunshine Eatery, Chef Daniel, owner." Tobi's eyes widened. He had heard of Sunshine Eatery before. It was the biggest restaurant in town. "Is this real?" he asked. "Yes," Chef Daniel said. "Come by 8 a.m. Don't be late." The next morning, Tobi woke up very early, cleaned up, and put on his best shirt. It had a small tear at the shoulder, but he didn't mind. He was too excited. When he got to Sunshine Eatery, the building looked huge and shiny. Waiters moved around in white shirts, and the smell of food filled the air. Chef Daniel welcomed him with a handshake. "I need someone like you. You're kind, quick, and smart. Will you work with me as a kitchen helper?" Tobi's face lit up. "Yes, sir, I'll do my best." That day, Tobi washed plates, peeled onions, and learned how to cook fancy meals. He was fast, polite, and always smiling. But not everyone was happy about Tobi's new job. In the back kitchen, another worker named Kunnel frowned as he watched Tobi work. "Why is this street boy here?" Kunnel muttered. "I've been here for 2 years, and I've never gotten praise like him." Kunnel had a plan to make Tobi fail. Kunnel didn't like how everyone was talking about Tobi. Even Chef Daniel said, "Tobi, you're a fast learner. Well done." That made Kunnel angry. One afternoon, while Tobi was peeling carrots, Kunnel walked by and knocked over a bowl of hot pepper sauce. Splash! The red sauce spilled everywhere, on Tobi's shirt, on the floor, and on the clean white plates. Everyone turned to look. "Tobi, what did you do?" one of the waiters shouted. Tobi stood there, confused. I didn't do it." But Kunnel quickly spoke up. "I saw him. He wasn't careful. He made the mess." Tobi felt a lump in his throat. He wanted to cry, but he held it in. Chef Daniel came into the kitchen. "What's going on here?" Kunnel pointed at Tobi. "He messed up the plates and wasted food." Chef Daniel looked at the mess, then at Tobi. "Is that true?" Tobi shook his head. "I didn't do it, sir. I promise." Chef Daniel thought for a moment. Kunnel, you've worked here long, but Tobi has always been honest. I'll check the kitchen camera." Kunnel's eyes widened. "Camera," he said quietly. "Yes," Chef Daniel said. "We have a camera in every corner." He left to check the video. Tobi cleaned up the mess quietly, his heart beating fast. After a few minutes, Chef Daniel came back. "Tobi," he said, smiling, "you were telling the truth. Kunnel, I saw what you did." Everyone gasped. Kunnel looked down in shame. "You will apologize," Chef Daniel said, "and take a break from work for 1 week." Kunnel mumbled, "I'm sorry," then walked away. Tobi felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Chef Daniel. "You are not just a good cook," he said. "You are honest, and that matters most." Tobi smiled. He felt proud. He didn't let lies bring him down. Later that evening, as the sun went down, Chef Daniel called Tobi aside. "I have another surprise for you," he said, "but I'll tell you tomorrow." Tobi went home that night with a full heart and big dreams. But tomorrow, something unexpected would happen. The next morning, Tobi woke up before the rooster crowed. He wore his neatest shirt and hurried to Sunshine Eatery. His heart was dancing with excitement. "I wonder what the surprise is," he thought. When he got there, Chef Daniel was already waiting. He smiled and handed Tobi a small white envelope. "What's this?" Tobi asked, opening it slowly. Inside was a letter with big, bold words. "Welcome to the Sunshine Eatery Training Program, full scholarship." Tobi read it twice. "Wait, are you saying I'm going to school?" "Yes," Chef Daniel laughed. "A cooking school. You'll learn everything: baking, soup making, cake decorating, and more. And when you finish, I'll help you open your own food stand." Tobi's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Chef Daniel patted him on the back. "You earned it, Tobi. You remind me of myself when I was young." But just as they were talking, a police van stopped in front of the restaurant. 4 officers stepped out and walked straight toward them. "Good morning," one officer said. "Are you Tobi?" Tobi froze. "Yes, I'm Tobi. You need to come with us," the officer said. "There's a case we're investigating, and your name came up." Tobi's heart sank. "What? But I didn't do anything." Chef Daniel stepped forward. "What is this about?" The officer said, "Last week, a food cart was reported stolen. The owner said someone who looked like Tobi took it." Tobi's mouth dropped open. No, sir. My cart was stolen too." The officer looked serious. "We're not arresting you, but we need to ask some questions at the station." Chef Daniel looked at Tobi. "Don't worry. I'm coming with you." As they got into the van, Tobi's hands were shaking. He didn't understand. Who would say he stole a cart? And what if no one believed him this time? The police van moved quickly through the streets. Tobi sat beside Chef Daniel, trying to stay calm. His heart felt heavy, like a stone. When they got to the station, an officer led them into a small room. Inside sat an old man with a walking stick. He looked tired and angry. "That's him," the old man shouted when he saw Tobi. "That's the boy who took my cart." Tobi stood up, shocked. "What? No, sir. I never took anyone's cart. Mine was stolen too." The old man squinted at him. "You used to sell food near Green Street, didn't you?" "Yes," Tobi nodded. "But I was chased away. I moved to the park. Then my cart disappeared when I went to save a girl." The old man paused. He looked at Tobi again, longer this time. Then he frowned. "Wait, are you the boy who saved a child from the river?" "Yes, sir," Tobi said softly. The old man sighed. He took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Someone told me a street boy took my cart and sold it. I was angry. I thought it was you." Tobi looked confused. "Then who took it?" The old man nodded. "I truly am sorry, son. If there's anything I can do to make it right, tell me." Chef Daniel looked at Tobi and smiled. "Actually, there is." He turned to the old man. "Tobi just got a scholarship to our cooking school. When he finishes, he'll need a food cart to start his own business. Maybe you could help." The old man chuckled. "A new cart, that's easy. He can have one tomorrow. A strong one, even better than mine." Tobi's eyes shone like stars. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." As they left the station, the sun was shining brightly. It felt like the sky was smiling just for him. But as Tobi stepped out, a voice behind him whispered, "You may be lucky today, but I'm not done with you yet." Tobi turned around quickly. It was Kunnel, the jealous kitchen worker. And this time, he had a plan that could ruin everything. Tobi froze when he saw Kunnel. Kunnel's eyes were cold, and his lips curled into a sneaky smile. "You think you've won, don't you?" Kunnel said quietly. "You think Chef Daniel really cares about you? Just wait." Before Tobi could reply, Kunnel turned and disappeared into a tricycle down the road. Chef Daniel placed a hand on Tobi's shoulder. "Ignore him," he said. "Focus on your future. You're meant for bigger things." Tobi nodded, but in his heart, he felt a little afraid. He didn't trust Kunnel at all. The next few weeks passed like magic. Tobi began his cooking classes. He learned how to bake bread, fry crispy chicken, and even make jollof rice that smelled so good people clapped after tasting it. He worked hard and always stayed after class to clean and practice. Soon, everyone in the school knew his name. One afternoon, Chef Daniel called him into the office. "Tobi, your food is amazing," he said. "I think it's time for your first big test." Tobi sat up straight. "What kind of test?" "You'll cook for real customers at our street food event this Saturday. You'll have your own stand and menu." Tobi gasped. "Really, my own stand?" Chef Daniel smiled. "Yes, we'll call it Tobi's Taste." Tobi jumped up and down with joy. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." But far away, in a corner of the city, Kunnel was watching from the shadows. He had heard about the event, and he had a plan. That Saturday, as Tobi set up his stand, Kunnel sneaked through the crowd with something hidden inside his backpack. The day of the street food event was bright and busy. Music played from speakers, children ran around with balloons, and the smell of suya, fried rice, and sweet puff-puff filled the air. Tobi stood behind his food stand, Tobi's Taste, wearing a white apron and a big smile. His new cart gleamed in the sun, freshly painted with yellow and red stripes. It was his dream come true. "Come and taste the best jollof rice in town." He shouted happily. People lined up. Tobi served plates with care. Every spoonful was perfect. People smiled, nodded, and said, "Wow," after their first bite. But while everyone was clapping for Tobi, Kunnel was hiding near the back of the crowd, holding something inside his backpack, a small bottle with dark liquid. "It's time," he whispered. He waited until Tobi turned to serve another customer. Then, quick as a flash, he stepped forward and poured the liquid into a bowl of stew behind the stand. But he didn't know someone was watching. Little Muna, the same girl Tobi once saved from the river, had come to buy food with her mother. She saw Connell bend behind the cart and quickly tip something inside the pot. Her eyes grew big. She tugged her mom's hand. "Mommy, that man put something in Uncle Toby's food." Tobi turned around just in time to see Connell walking away, smiling to himself. "What's going on?" Chef Daniel asked, walking over. Tobi looked at the stew and then at Muna. "He put something in it," she said again. Tobi didn't wait. He quickly picked up the bowl and handed it to Chef Daniel. "Sir, I think something bad just happened." Chef Daniel sniffed the bowl, then called security. They checked it. It was full of bitter herbs and strange black powder that could make people sick. The crowd gasped when they heard. Within minutes, Connell was stopped by 2 security men. Chef Daniel walked up to him, holding the poisoned stew. "Why, Connell?" he asked. "Why would you do this?" Connell looked down. "Because everyone forgot me. No one ever clapped for me like they do for him." "But this isn't the way," Chef Daniel said sadly. "You could have hurt someone." The police were called again. Connell was taken away. Tobi stood there, shaken but proud. "You were brave," Chef Daniel said. "And smart to check. You saved everyone again." The people clapped, this time louder than before. Some hugged him, others took pictures. Tobi smiled through the tears in his eyes. He didn't just have a food stand now. He had a story, he had respect, and he had a bright future. But the journey wasn't over, because just the next day, someone special showed up at Tobi's cart. And he brought news that could change Tobi's life forever. The next morning, the sky was quiet and the sun was soft. Tobi was cleaning his new cart, humming a song, when he saw a black car stop near him. Out stepped a tall man in a clean suit. He wore glasses and carried a shiny briefcase. "Are you Tobi?" the man asked with a friendly smile. Tobi nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. My name is Mr. Emeka. I work with a big food company called Royal Kitchen Nigeria. I heard about what happened yesterday, how you stopped someone from poisoning the crowd, and how everyone loves your food." Tobi blinked. "You did?" "Yes. In fact, our boss saw a video of you online. It's going viral. People are calling you the boy with the golden spoon." Tobi laughed shyly. "I was just doing what's right." Mr. Emeka opened his briefcase and brought out a colorful folder. "Well, we believe boys like you should go far. Our company wants to offer you a big opportunity, a full scholarship to study at the Royal Culinary School in Lagos. All your food, books, and travel will be paid for. You won't be leaving forever," Mr. Emeka said. "You'll come back wiser, stronger, and ready to make your food dreams come true." Tobi looked at the sky. His heart was full. He had started with nothing, just hope and a hungry stomach. Now, he was being offered something he never dreamed of, a future. But deep inside, he knew, the journey wasn't just about food. It was about standing strong when things go wrong. About doing good even when it's hard. About never giving up even when the street gets rough. Tobi took the folder with shaking hands. "I accept," he whispered. And just like that, the real journey began. The next few weeks felt like a blur for Tobi. He packed his things, said goodbye to his friends in the neighborhood, and left the familiar streets of the city. Chef Daniel and Muna waved him off as he boarded a bus to Lagos. It was hard to believe everything was happening so fast. "Make us proud, Tobi," Chef Daniel shouted, his voice full of pride. "I will, sir," Tobi shouted back. "I promise." The journey to Lagos was long, but Tobi could hardly sleep, filled with excitement. When he finally arrived, Mr. Emeka greeted him at the bus station and drove him to the Royal Culinary School. The building was big and shiny, and the smell of fresh bread and spices filled the air. "Welcome to your new home," Mr. Emeka said, showing Tobi around. The school had everything: kitchens with sparkling counters, classrooms filled with eager students, and halls filled with food posters. Tobi couldn't believe it. This was where he'd learn from the best chefs in the country. Over the next few months, Tobi worked harder than he ever had before. He learned new cooking skills, from making perfect pastries to designing beautiful cakes. He spent hours learning how to mix flavors and create dishes that told stories. His teachers were kind, but they pushed him to be better. But even in such a big school, Tobi never forgot his roots. Every evening after class, he would write down recipes from his street vendor days, tweaking them, adding new ideas, and making them even better. One day, as Tobi was decorating a cake in class, he noticed a familiar face. It was Kunnel. Tobi's heart skipped. What was he doing here? Kunnel was standing by the door, his face grim. He looked different, like he had changed. Tobi wasn't sure what to feel. Kunnel, Tobi asked, walking toward him. Kunnel looked at the ground. I'm sorry, Tobi. I know I hurt you, and I know I made terrible mistakes. Tobi nodded slowly. What happened to you? Kunnel sighed. After everything that happened, I got into trouble. I lost my job. I was angry at the world. But then I realized something. The way you helped people even when they were rude to you, it made me think. Maybe I can do better. Tobi's heart softened. He remembered the old Kunnel, the jealous man who'd tried to ruin his dreams. Why are you here? Tobi asked. I'm trying to get into the culinary school, too, Kunnel said quietly. I want to change. I want to cook, but the right way. Tobi thought for a moment, then he smiled. If you really want to change, you can. But you have to work hard. It won't be easy. Kunnel nodded. I'm ready. And just like that, Tobi made a decision. I'll talk to Chef Daniel for you, Tobi said. Maybe you can get a chance. Kunnel's eyes widened. You'd do that for me? Tobi smiled. Everyone deserves a second chance, Kunnel, even you. The next day, Tobi went to Chef Daniel and told him about Kunnel's apology. Chef Daniel listened carefully, then nodded. If Kunnel is serious, Chef Daniel said, he can start working here as an apprentice. But he has to show me he can change, and just like that, Kunnel got another chance. Months passed, and soon, Tobi graduated with honors from the Royal Culinary School. He was ready. He had everything he needed: skills, a passion for food, and a heart full of dreams.